And here we go. We have a downloaded ISO. I hope you enjoyed that slight break. I myself treated myself to a nice shot of espresso, and it was very good. But we're back. Now we have our ISO downloaded. What I want you to do is find a place on your operating system where you can keep your virtual machines. And if you look at what I have my virtual machines located in my documents section on my physical host. And here you can see all of the virtual machines that I've put together. Now I've made a PMAT section in the virtual machines directory that I can store all of my VMs and my ISOs. And so what you can do is create a section on your hard drive where you can keep these and just copy that right into that directory. And this will just help us keep organized for when we're building our virtual machines. Now, we will set up our Windows operating system. What we need to do is go to the New button right here in the Tools section. And we're going to set up a Windows 10 64-bit operating system. Now, for the machine folder, it will give you this default location, but you can also set it to that area that we just set up in Documents, Virtual Machines, PMAT, if you so desire. But wherever you put it, just make sure that you keep track of it so you know where it is. And we're going to call this PMAT-Flare VM, Flare VM. And we'll talk about what that means here in a second. But for right now, we'll hit Next. We can keep our RAM size to the default. 2 gigs of RAM should be fine for this install. And we'll create a virtual hard disk now of type VDI VirtualBox disk image. And you can hit Next. Dynamically allocated is fine. You can click Next. And for the storage amount, you can leave this to the default. And you can make sure that it goes into the PMAT Flare VM section. And we hit Create. Now, we have a placeholder virtual machine. And if we start this up, VirtualBox is going to say, hey, we want to start this VM, but we don't know what to do with it. We don't know what image to use. And so what we need for this is we're going to go to Add, and we can go to our PMAT section. So navigate to Documents. We'll go to Virtual Machines. If I do Date Modified, I'll go to PMAT, and we can select this ISO that we've just downloaded and hit Open. Now, if there are any other ISOs here, we can go ahead and ignore those. So just click the virtual machine ISO that we downloaded and click Choose, and we hit Start. And VirtualBox is going to do its thing. It's going to initialize the install. If you do see this Windows loading screen right here, you have correctly set this up. And what we now need to do is install our Windows 10 ISO as a virtual machine. You can select your settings that you want and click Install Now. And just let this run for a little while. Now you'll see this. You can click I accept the license and terms. Go ahead and read those if you need something to help you fall asleep. But otherwise, you'll select Custom Install. You will click New on the Drive 0 unallocated space and click Apply, leaving all of these to the default. You can click OK at this prompt. It will create additional partitions here, and that's fine. You'll click Next, and this will install the virtual machine operating system, and this may take a little while, so I will cut to the part where we pick up after the install has completed, so I'll see you in a bit. Now, after the install is complete, you'll see this. It will restart here in a couple seconds. And VirtualBox will boot up again. It will skip by the boot from CD or DVD and go right to the ISO boot. All right, now we are at the Windows installation portion of the install here. We'll hit yes to whichever your area is. You can select your keyboard. I select US. We don't need to add a second keyboard layout. That's fine. And now this is going to set up just some run-of-the-mill Windows installation features. We just have to click through more or less on these because we're not really setting this up to be a host that we're going to use every day. We're setting this up just to be a lab environment. Now, at this point, it's going to ask you if you want to sign in with Microsoft. You really don't need to do that. You can just do a domain join here. And you're going to say whatever user you want for this. And I'm going to say Husky. We'll click Next. Super memorable password will be password. And confirm password. Security question 1 will be name of the city I was born in, and that's, of course, ASD. Security question 2 is first pet's name, and that's going to be ASD. And security question 3, oldest cousin is Bob. Okay. Now, for this one, gotta love Microsoft here. Go ahead and select no for all of these settings. And we'll go ahead and say not now with Cortana. We don't necessarily need Cortana for our purposes. Once you pass through that section of the install, it will give you the little we're getting everything ready for you. You just have to give it another minute here and it should boot to the desktop. All right, and if you see this awesome, gorgeous Windows background, you have successfully booted to the desktop. But wait, there's one more thing that we got to do here. And you're probably wondering, am I going to have to do the whole course in this tiny little virtual machine window? And the answer to that is only if you want to. Otherwise, no. What you can do is go up to Devices here and insert Guest Edition CD image. And this will load in a CD drive to the virtual machine. You just got to wait a second. If you go down to your File Explorer right here and go to this PC, you'll be able to see it here, Virtual Box Guest Editions right here. Go ahead and open this up. And among all of the files that are available here, we do have the VBox Windows Editions AMD 64, otherwise known as 64-bit. We'll go ahead and double click on this to install our virtual machine tools. If you get the UAC prompt, you can go ahead and click yes. And we're just going to leave all of these to the default settings and click install. So just click through those, click install. Again, Oracle's going to ask you, do you want to trust everything that we install here? I will say yes. You don't have to. And you're going to see some funky action on the screen, and you're going to see this right here, reboot now. All you got to do is reboot the guest operating system. And then when you restart the guest operating system, the VM tools will boot up as a service. So go ahead and log in to your account here. And it may just take a second to boot up. You might see a cmd.exe window pop up right here for a second. And then if you click minimize and click maximize, you now should have a better screen resolution. And why don't we go ahead and just get rid of these little bubbles right here. And you should have your base installed Windows 10 operating system. Now we're going to do something very, very important. I want you to go up to here, and we're going to be doing this a lot in this course, so it's very important you get this right. If you go up to Machine and go down to Take Snapshot, we're going to call this Base, not Vase, Base Install. Your base install snapshot is going to be very important. If anything else messes up through the duration of this course, you can always revert back to your base install snapshot. And that's it for our base Windows install. Next up, we're going to show you how to install Remnux, which is our Linux operating system we'll be using in this course. And then after that, we'll come back to our Windows operating system and install all of the tools that we're going to need to actually do the work of the course. So meet me in the next video and we'll talk there.